Alright, now before we officially start this cutscene and this mission, technically, I'm going to take the time to read all of these Codex pages, because we haven't really taken a chance to look through all of them, and before we continue and beat this game, I want to read through all of them and see, from the first one to the last one, and see kind of like how they develop through Codex page to Codex page. Now, if you don't want to listen to me reading them, go ahead and feel free to skip ahead in the video. I definitely do not mind, and I completely understand. But I want to take the chance to read them, and if anyone wants me to hear what they have to say or see what they have in them, then this is your chance to. Other than buying the game yourself, you know. All right, let's start out by. Does it go left to right, top to bottom? Yes, it does. So we're going to start from this top left and start reading. Page 1. I've spent days with the artifact now, or has it been weeks? Months? I can no longer be certain. The others come from time to time, offering food or distraction. They say I should separate myself from these studies. Malik has even suggested I abandon them entirely, but I'm not yet ready to turn away. This apple of Eden will be understood. It must be. Is it a weapon? Is it a catalog? Is it somehow both? He who increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. The philosophy of such a statement I can understand, but for it to be true, literally true, a society that wage wars with ideas and information in place of steel and swords, its function is simple, elementary even. Dominion, control, but the process, the methods and means it employs, these are fascinating. Those subjugated to its glow are promised all that they desire. It asks only one thing in return, complete and total obedience. And who can truly refuse? It is a temptation incarnate. I remember my own moment of weakness when confronted by Al-Mu'allim, my confidence shaken by his words. He who has been like a father was now revealed to be my greatest enemy. Just the briefest flicker of doubt was all he needed to creep into my mind. But I vanquished his phantoms, restored my self-confidence, and sent him from this world. I freed myself. But now I wonder, did I really? For here I sit, desperate to understand that which I soared to destroy. This is why. The apple has a tale to tell. I sense the flickers of something great and dangerous. We are all at risk. It is my duty to do something about it. I must not, cannot, turn away until I found the truth. Alright, yeah, so these are written by Altair, so we get to hear about what happened after the events of Assassin's Creed 1. Let's move on to the next one. Page 2. No text data. Zoom to see image data. Alright, let's zoom. And as we can see, it's a depiction of the Templars and Assassins versing each other. On the right are the Assassins, and on the left are the Templars. A cool picture. Page 3. No text data. Zoom to see image data. This must be the designs for the hidden blade that Leonardo used to design it. It's cool. Page 4. What follows are the three great ironies of the Assassin Order. 1. Here we seek to promote peace, but murder is our means. 2. Here we seek to open the minds of men, but require obedience to a master instead of rules. 3. Here we seek to reveal the danger of blind fate, yet here we are practitioners ourselves. I have no satisfactory answer to these charges, only possibilities. Do we bend the rules in service to a greater good? And if we do, what does it say of us? That we are liars? That we are frauds? That we are weak? Every moment is spent wrestling with these contradictions, and in spite of all the years I've had the time to reflect, still I can find no suitable answer, and I fear that one may not exist. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted. Does our creed provide the answer, then? That one may be two things, opposite in every way, simultaneously, and why not? Am I not proof? We of noble intentions possessed of barbaric means? We who celebrate the sanctity of life, and then promptly take it away from those we deem our enemies? Page 5. Who were the ones that came before? What brought them here? How long ago? Centuries? Millennia? Longer still? So little remains of them. What drove them out? What of these artifacts? Messages in a bottle? Tools left behind to aid and guide us? Or do we fight for control over their refuse, giving divine purpose and meaning to little more than discarded toys? Page 6. Robert de Sa may be dead, but but his brotherhood survives. Though less conspicuous in appearance, I fear they remain a threat. Where once they proudly walked the streets, making for easier targets, now they retreat into the shadows. It grows difficult to track them. What wicked things will they weave in the darkness? Our work will be all the more complicated for it. Already there are rumors of a movement on Cyprus. I will have to investigate. It made me realize that our tactics, too, must change. It means an end to our fortresses, to our penchant for spectacular displays of public assassinations. We must weave our webs quietly, and we must do so differently than we have in the past. Though I ask my brothers now to abandon their rituals, I do not ask that they abandon the creed. This is what makes us assassins. Not the removal of a finger, not a false promise of paradise, not the prohibition of poison. Sorry, I cannot talk today. Of poison. Our duty is to the people, not to custom. If we must sneak, we shall sneak. If we must use poison, we shall use poison. If our blades cannot be used without removing fingers, we shall not demand they be taken, and we shall not manipulate our initiates with lies and parlor tricks. We shall speak plainly and honestly. We shall be made anew. Page 7. I thought Ada would be the one to lead me to rest, that I might lay down my blade and live as a normal man. But now I know such dreams are best left to sleep. Her face. I try to banish it from my mind as I remember the days and nights during which I chased her Templar captors across the sea. I almost got to them in time. Almost. If I only had been faster. Instead, I held her lifeless body in my arms, saw the terror reflected in her fixed, unblinking eyes. I hunted each man one by one until all responsible were gone from the world. But there were no joy in this, no satisfaction or release. Their deaths did not bring her back, did not heal my wounds. After that, I was certain I would never feel for a woman as I had for her. I am fortunate to have been wrong. Page 8. Why do our instincts insist on violence? I've studied the interactions between different species. The innate desire to survive seems to demand the death of another. Why can't they not stand hand in hand? So many believe the world was created by the hand of a divine power, but I see only the designs of a madman bent on celebrating destruction and desperation. Our origins seem chaotic, unintended, purpose and being instilled solely by the passage of time, imposed first by nature, and later men. Page 9. Over time, any sentence uttered long and loud enough becomes fixed, becomes a truth, provided, of course, you can outlast the dissent and silence your opponents. But should you succeed and remove all challengers, then what remains is, by default, now true. Is it truth in some objective sense? No. But how does one ever achieve an objective point of view? The answer is you don't. It is literally, physically, impossible. There are too many variables, too many fields and formulae to consider. Formulae to consider. We can try, of course. We can inch closer and closer to a revelation. But we'll never reach it. Not ever. And so I have realized that so long as the Templars exist, they will attempt to bend reality to their will. They recognize there is no such thing as an absolute truth, or if there is, we are hopelessly under-equipped to recognize it. And so in its place, they seek to create their own explanation. It is the guiding principle of their so-named New World Order. To reshape existence in their own image. It is not about artifacts, not about men. These are merely tools. It is about concepts. Clever of them. For how does one wage war without a concept? It is the perfect weapon. It lacks a physical form, yet can alter the world around us in numerous, often violent ways. You cannot kill a creed, even if you kill all of its inherents, destroying all of its writings. These are a reprieve at best. Someone, someday, will rediscover it, reinvent it. I believe that even we, the assassins, have simply rediscovered an order that predates the old man himself. Page 10. No text data, zoom to see image data. This must be referring to the first civilization, or at least the Apple of Eden from the top pictures at the top. One's an apple, one looks like a little thing made out of the piece of Eden, and they form together to make the piece of Eden. And that must be a guy using it or something. Let's move on to the next page. Page 11. Attis, Dionysus, Horus, Krishna, Mithra, Jesus. Similar stories color their lives. Too similar, I think. Divine birthright, persecution, disciples, miraculous acts, resurrection. How's it possible? Perhaps it isn't. Merely a single story told over the ages, borrowed and then changed to fit the times, evolving as our tools and language do. Is their tale born of fact or fiction? A bit of both. Could these figures be the same person, their life extended and transformed by a piece of Eden? Al-Mu'allim spoke of Jesus as a real person, a mortal who had mastered the arts of manipulation. But what if he was wrong? If these men are real, and if they have walked among us many times before, does it mean they'll come again? Perhaps they are here now. So many questions, and every day, even more. Page 12. No text data. Zoom to see image data. I have no clue. What? Oh, wait, no, it's the solar system. The sun in the middle, and it shows where each of the planets are on the line. Huh. Interesting. It shows the moon in the bottom left. It's cool. Eden must have shown him this. The piece of Eden, that is. Page 13. The hidden blade has been a constant companion of ours over the years. Some would even say it defines us, and yet they would not be entirely wrong. Many of our successes would not have been possible without it. Still, the device has begun to show its age, and so I've been researching the improvements beyond ending the need to remove one's finger to wield it. The first is the addition of the metal plate that can be used to deflect the incoming blows. The other assassins believe it is forged of new metal, and credit me with the discovery of a formulae included on its own page. Included on this page. It is better that they not know the truth. I've also worked with Malik to describe new methods of assassination, from on high, from ledges, and from hiding places. Basic movements, but critical nonetheless. The third and final improvement is most simple, the provision of a second blade, identical in every way to the first. Should an assassin ever find himself tasked with dispatching two targets, he need only time he need only time his strike in such a way that he might reach both at the same time. These blades will be limited in number, since the metals with which we had forged them remain difficult to obtain. I will need to think carefully about who shall be allowed to carry two. Let's look at the image, and this must be the Codex that we use to learn these new moves, and that Leonardo designed two blades. That makes me think, did I miss other ones that had images, that had text? I'm just going to check all these very quickly. I don't think there is. Can't believe I got to go back. Because you never know what you might miss, right? Sorry they had to see me going through this, but you never know what you might miss. I probably lost my place too. Wait. Okay, now where was I? Yeah, this was the one I was at, so we gotta move on to the next one. Page 14. Man seeks dominion over all that he encounters. I suppose it is a natural tendency for us to aspire towards mastery of our surroundings. This should not include other human beings. Every day more and more are pressed into service, by deception or by force. Others, though not so firmly imprisoned, are made to feel as if their lives are worthless. I've seen the ways in which men persecute women, heard the cruel words hurled at those who come here from other lands, watch as those who believe or act differently are made to suffer. We discuss such things often, watching as we do from the spires in Maisif. But what can be done to stop this, to encourage tolerance and equality? Some days we speak of education, believing that knowledge will free us from immorality. But as I walk the streets and see slaves sent off to auction, my heart grows cold when I see the husband hurl abuses and stones at his wife, insisting that she exists only to serve him. My fists clench, and when I see children torn from their parents so that another man might profit, sent off to suffer beneath the desert sun and die. On these days, I do not think that dialogue will make a difference. On these days, I can think only of how the perpetrators need to die. Oh man, that took a dark turn. Hold on a second. Alright, sorry about that. Page 15, no text data, zoom to see image data. I think this is in the island of Cyprus, because it says that at the bottom, Cyprus Insula. And I think that's an actual place in the world that actually is called Cyprus, and that's just not changed name at the time. And it is in the Mediterranean. Alright, let's look at the next page. Page 16. The apple is more than a catalog of which precedes us. Within its twisting, sparkling innards I have caught glimpses of what will be. Such a thing should not be possible. Perhaps it isn't. Maybe it's simply a suggestion. How to know, how to be sure. I contemplate the consequences of these visions. Are they images of things to come, or simply the potential for what might be? Can we influence the outcome? Dare we try? And in so doing, do we merely ensure that which we've seen? I am torn as always between action and inaction, unclear as to make which, if either, will make a difference. Either will make a difference. And am I even meant to make a difference? Still, I keep this journal in that not an attempt to change, or perhaps guarantee, what I have seen. Is it that not I attempt to change, or perhaps guarantee what I have seen? Said that wrong. Page 17. Of all the things I've seen, none troubles me more than the images of the flames. Pillars so tall they seemed to pierce the heavens. The ground rumbled and shuddered. Mountains split and cracked. Great metal towers splintered, their innards strewed about the ground. And everywhere there was screaming, a chorus so terrible that even now I feel its echoes still. What is the madness I've seen? Is it them, I wonder? Those who came before? Is it where they went? Into the fire, into the dust? Perhaps the destructive power is what the Templars seek, that they might hold it over us and command devotion. What hope would we have, then, if they held such darkness in their hands, that they could murder the world? Page 18. We are obligated to hide, to be silent, to shape the course of its history in secret. But some of my brothers and sisters disagree. They grow angry, insisting it is a mistake to shroud ourselves. They say it slows our work, but they do not understand the risk. To expose ourselves now would be too dangerous. I fear we would be branded madmen and attacked. So it goes. So it always has. If there is one thing I know for certain, is that men do not learn by being told. Instead, they must be shown. They must make the connections themselves. If I say unto a man, be kind, be tolerant, be an open mind, these words will wither and die long before they have effected change. It would be a waste, and so we must maintain our course. Page 19. Legend speaks of a golden fleece. Could the two be related? I have further refined the metallurgic process, allowing for the production of a suit of armor that likes of which the world has never seen. It is possessed of great strength, yet so light as to allow complete freedom. I alternate between wonder and fear. Here we have crafted that something that will be surely change the face of warfare, making those who wear it nigh invincible. Perhaps it was a mistake to create these pieces. I think it best to erase the formulae. What if it were to fall into the hands of our enemies? The risk is too great. Let's look at the image. And I'm pretty sure that's the armor we're wearing now, the armor of Altair. So I guess that's where this kind of came from. It came from kind of like a piece of Eden type of made metal. Maybe. That's probably where it came from. Page 20. I've studied the ancient pagan faiths that came before this more recent obsession with a single divine creator. They seem to have a focus more on the fundamental forces at play in the world around us and less in the arbitrary moral rules. The sun rises in the morning and sets in the evening. The tides ebb and flow. Grass grows, withers, dies, and then in time emerges from the ground once more. The air turns warm, then cools and back again. Some hidden energy keeps us fitted to the ground and pulls us back when we attempt to leave it. Each of these movements was represented before by a god or goddess, each force given face but recognized as something distinct and powerful, which is not to say there were not connections between these forces. A pantheon of individual spirits, of rules, invisible hands guiding the progress of the world around us. And so here they was an attempt to categorize, study, explain, and understand the way things worked, even if it was flawed, but no more. Now we are asked to succumb to the far more simplified explanation. How naive to believe there might be a single answer to every question, every mystery, that there exists a long divine light which rules over all. They say it as a light that brings truth and love. I say it as a light that binds us and forces us to stumble about in ignorance. I long for the day when men will turn away from invisible monsters and once more embrace a more rational view of the world. But these new religions are so convenient and promise such terrible punishment should one reject them. I worry that fear shall keep us stuck to what is surely the greatest lie ever told. Wow. He's pretty much saying, like, religion is nothing but a lie. God. Page 21. One may cultivate extracts from various plants found throughout the region. More exotic species can sometimes be obtained from traders and travelers, but their properties are less documented and require further examination. Traditional alchemical implements can be used to distill the poison. Care should be used as certain poisons can be absorbed through exposed skin. Many are those who have lost their lives to carelessness. One's blade should be hollowed according to the specifications listed herein. Deviation may create fractures within the metal, causing the blade to weaken and possibly break. So this must be the Codex that Leonardo used to make the poison blade improvement to our hidden blade. Page 22. What to make of this map? It appears to contain the entire world, not as flat as they claim, either, but round, like a ball, like the apple. But how is such a thing even possible? Stranger still are the lands it shows, great patches of the unknown, the unexplored, so many places yet to be discovered. And are there men there? Are they like us? And if not, different how? I should like to know the answers. Perhaps in time I'll have the chance to travel, to chart a course and make my way to these distant lands. So the Apple of Eden showed him the most of the world, not even all of it. It's pretty much the eastern side of the world. Or western side, considering what you want to consider it. Page 23. No text data. Zoom to see image data. Just another picture of assassins. And the different things they do. And just kind of like the symbol to the assassin order. Page 24. Some days I miss my family, or at least the thought of them. I never knew my parents well, despite them both having lived within these walls. It was our way. Perhaps they were sad, though they showed no sign. It was not allowed. For my part, so much of my youth was spent in training. There was little time left to reflect upon the separation, and so when they were finally lost to me, it seemed no different than the passing of two strangers. Al-Mualim had been as my father, and his was a weak and dishonest love. Though at the time it seemed enough. Better, even. Or so I thought. Some day I will have a child. Such is the way of our order. And I will not make the same mistake. Nor any who call themselves an assassin. We shall be allowed to love our children. And in turn, to be loved. Al-Mualim believes such attachments would weaken us. Calls us to falter when our lives were on the line. But if we truly fight for what is just, does love not make such sacrifice simpler? Knowing that we do so for their gain? No text data, zoom to see image data. And this must be a picture of Maria, who Altair fell in love with, apparently. Page 26. I have the answer now. I know the truth. I shall not touch the wretched thing again, but best no one do, now or ever. I've tried at last to destroy it, but it would neither bend nor break nor melt. Oh, the irony. I'm certain if I asked, the apple would tell me what need to be done. But even this promise is insufficient. Always it holds one more gift to give. I must refrain, so it shall be sealed. We will take it to the island. Once theirs, now ours. There's a treasury there, hidden well, and it shall have to suffice. Risky to separate myself from the artifact that others may discover it. Riskier still to keep it close. In time I will be tempted. I am weak. We all are. Who wouldn't be? Oh, the things I've seen. The tale is here, inside the text, not between the lines, but beneath them, where only our eyes might peer. Go and see it for yourself, that you might succeed where I and the others have failed. Time marches on, bringing with it its new discoveries and developments, and so at least one day the doorway might be open and the message delivered. They will have their prophet. Page 27. We are growing larger. More make their way to our fortresses every day, men and women, young and old, from different lands, of different faiths. Each tells a similar story of having discovered the first part of our creed, that nothing is true. Too often, though, the revelation undoes them. They lose their morality, certainty, security. Many are driven mad. We must guide them, help them to heal. Their minds not be filled with more fairy tales, but with knowledge instead. Let them have answers, and let those answers be difficult and complex. Such is life. Page 28. Success! We have found a way to alter the structure of the hidden blade so that it can be used to launch small projectiles. It is capable of grievous damage, even from great distance. I confess the means by which I have come about the discovery was risky, to say the least. But I have found that in small doses, and with a focused mind, the apple can be used without ill effect. Or so I hope. The knowledge of projectile combat is not new to us, having been observed amongst our eastern neighbors, but their weapons were much larger and inefficient for our needs. I have now found a way to miniaturize their designs, embedding their fairy weapon into a form that can be worn on the wrist. We have also refined the formula for combustible powder, such that common ingredients might be used. This is a disastrous bit of knowledge and is best shared with only our closest allies. So this must be the Codex that Leonardo used to make the gun pistol attachment to our hidden blade. I skipped ahead. Page 29. A dark tide rises to the east, an army of such size and power that all land is made quick with worry. Their leader is a man named Temujin, who had adopted the title Genghis Khan. He sweeps across the lands, conquering and subsuming all who stand in his way. Whatever his motives, he must be stopped. Were I younger, I might attempt to undertake the work in secret, as I suspect the presence of a piece of Eden. But those days are years gone now. The mantle must be passed. It is time she and I spoke with our sons. We will travel there together, that they may be tested and that this threat might be stopped. Page 30. Soon I shall pass from this world. It is my time. All the hours of day are now colored by the thoughts of fears born of this realization. I know that the elements of my body will return to the earth, but what of my consciousness, my identity? That is not to say, what of me? I suspect it will end, that there is no next world, nor a return to this one. It will simply be done, forever. Our lives have been so brief and unimportant. The cosmos cares nothing for us, for what we've done. Had we wrought evil instead of good, had I chosen to abuse the apple instead of seal it away, none of it would have mattered. There is no counting, no reckoning, no final judgment. There is simply silence, and in darkness, utter and absolute. And so I've begun to wonder, might there not be a way to stop, or at least delay death's embrace? Surely the ones who came before were not so frail and feeble as we. But I have sworn to be done with the artifact, to not gaze into its core. Still, faced am I with the prospect of my end. What harm is there in one last look? And that is the last Codex page. We got a lot of backstory for Altair from what he did after he killed Al-Mualim. Man, that was a lot to read. Well, I hope if you sat with me through that, you learned something new or found something interesting. Hopefully that what I read you found interesting to listen to. But now that we're done reading all those, let's get started with this last and final sequence.
Ezio! It is time, Uncle. Let us finish what you and my father started all those years ago.
Indeed. Perhaps now we can finally make sense of this prophecy and put a stop to whatever it is the Spaniard is plotting.
We should start by locating the vault. The Codex pages will lead us to it. Let's take a look.
X marks the spot. Decipher the Codex pages to discover the location of the vault. Rodrigo Borgia.
Rodrigo Borgia, aka the Spaniard. A dark stain on human history, Rodrigo left a trail of blood a mile wide on his quest to unify Italy under the Templar banner. Anyone who opposed him ended up in little pieces inside a sack, or, if he was in a good mood, poisoned. Once he was crowned Pope, Rodrigo, or should I say Alexander VI, used his influence to wage war with any city that held out against the Templars. And then there were the rumoured X-rated atrocities. Hundreds of courtesans brought to the Vatican by the cartload, and the Pope's close friendship with his illegitimate daughter, Lucrezia. Oh yeah, and did I mention the killings never stopped? Throughout all his public debauchery, Rodrigo was quietly murdering his enemies behind the scenes, consolidating Templar power for the moment when they would seize control.
Rodrigo Borgia. Date of birth 1431. Profession leader of the Italian Templars. Noble. Well, obviously, as you can tell, we can use eagle vision. And we can see that we have to line these up in a specific way. I'll start with these edges. And I'll go left to right and top to bottom. As you can probably tell, that it's forming a world map. Well, that was easy. As you can see, it forms a world map, and now we have to put the piece of Eden on this pedestal.
It is a map of the entire world, but there are lands shown here that do not exist.
Apparently they do exist. I imagine they've yet to be discovered. Or rediscovered.
How is this possible?
Perhaps the vault will hold the answer.
Do you see where it is, then?
No. It can't be. The vault. It looks like the vault is in Roma. Then the Spaniard. This is why he became Pope.
Now I understand. It's not the vault alone he's gained access to, but the staff as well.
What stuff?
The Codex always spoke of two keys. Two pieces of Eden needed to open the vault. One is the apple.
And the other is the staff. The papal staff is the second piece of Eden.
For years, no, decades, we've sought these answers.
And now, at last, we have them.
But so too could the Spaniard. And if he does, if he finds a way into the vault, its contents will make the apple seem a trifling thing.
I must go to Roma and find the vault. What are the rest of you?
We'll do what we do best. Cause some trouble in the city, giving you the freedom to conduct your search.
Just let me know when you are ready, Nipote.
X marks the spot. Alright, now that we finally have the Codex done, we have all the armor, I think technically we have everything. The only thing we haven't checked out are the pictures of people that we've killed up in Ezio's room, and after the credits I'll go ahead and go check that out before ending the game, or I might not, I don't know, I really haven't decided. But let's go ahead and start this mission, which will be the final mission for this game.
Roma beckons, Ezio. Let me know when you are ready to depart.
To Rome. Are you sure you want to go to Rome? I mean, I guess. Yeah, I do. I want to go to Rome. Roma, 1499. Il Bocca al Lupo. Infiltrate the Sistine Chapel and assassinate Rodrigo Borgia, the Spaniard. Well, we're in Rome. We really don't get the chance to check out this city in this game, but we sure do in the next one. Oh shit. Castel Sant'Angelo. It's Castel Sant'Angelo. I think that's how you say it. Saint Angelo. Yeah, Castel Sant'Angelo. Built between 135 and 139 is the tomb of the Roman Emperor Hadrian. The Castel Sant'Angelo was designed to be slightly larger than the Mausoleo of Augustus, because, as the database has shown time and again, size does matter. The building was converted into a military fortress in 401 and was promptly sacked by Visigoth looters in 410, who scattered Hadrian's ashes everywhere. What was left was recycled, i.e., stolen by the Vatican. In the 14th century, the tomb was converted into a castle for the popes and connected to St. Peter's via a covered passage called the Passetto di Borgo. Reflecting the delightfully sadistic side of Renaissance papal rule, the castel contained both sumptuous apartments and a prison. Giordano Bruno, the famous scientist and hermetist, was held there for 6 years. Executions were carried out in the small interior courtyard for the Pope's enjoyment. Well, damn. This took a turn. What the?
You wanna fight? You go.
That worked. Wrong thing to run up.